Some years back, we were hiking in a location that was completely new to us. As always, we stopped by a kiosk at the entrance of the woods to pick up a trail map just to keep us on track. We started out on a well-traveled path, and we'd been hiking for about 20 minutes when we stopped beside a stone wall right where the trail divided. And we took out the map in order to figure out where we were and where we were headed next. We looked around at the landmarks and we looked at the map, and we realized that nothing on that map matched the terrain around us. Nothing. Didn't take us long to realize that we were looking at the wrong map. I'll never know how we ended up with the wrong map, but I will always remember how it felt to stand there in the middle of the woods, completely alone, no idea where we were. And since this was before the advent of cell phones, we had nothing to show us the way. Now, maybe you felt that way in your life. I know I have. One minute, you're traveling along a well-worn path, confident because you know where you're going, confident because you know you have a map in your pocket that's going to show you the way. Maybe you picked up this metaphorical map from your parents or a teacher or a friend, or even some well-meaning online guru. Whatever the case, you travel confidently, believing you can rely on this map to show you the way. And then you come to the fork in the road and you look down at that map and you look around for familiar landmarks and you realize your map does not match the terrain. You have the wrong map. It's the map of what someone else thinks you should do, guidance for someone else's life. And it's not going to work for you because it does not match the terrain of your life. If this has happened to you, you're not alone. I think most of us head off into the woods, confident, cheerful, with someone else's map in our pockets. You know, the things that people said to you, the things that you believe. Stay in your lane. Don't speak up for yourself. Your needs don't matter. You're not smart enough. You're not a good person. And I believe all those disabling negative thoughts about who we are, and where we should go in our lives do not match the terrain of our lives. Think about it. Maybe, just maybe, we've been following the wrong map. And if that's the case, if you're feeling lost and alone, the first thing we need to do is recognize we're off track. Somewhere, something's gone wrong. We're off track. And once we realize we're lost, then what do? Here's what we do. We make our own map. We create a map that matches the terrain of who we are, where we want to go, and what we want the terrain of our lives to look like. And we create that map by doing 3 simple things. First of all, we need to figure out exactly where we are. We need to orient ourselves in the environment in the present moment. We need to assess what's going on with us. We need to get specific and honest about where we are starting this healing journey to the life we really want. Next, we need to figure out where we want to go. We need to ask ourselves, what is it we really, really want? Not what our parents wanted for us, not what your best friend thinks is the best thing for you. This is about what we want. Think about it. What do you really want? When you know that answer, write it down in a journal, a notebook, put it on sticky notes, and put those notes all over the place where you see them regularly to remind yourself of these goals. Because you know what? These goals are the destinations on the map of your life. Here's where I'm going. So Where are you starting? Where are you going? The third thing is to plan out the route that's best for you to take to get from here to there. Now, I use the word best on purpose. I'm not talking about the fastest route or the route someone else is taking. I'm talking about the route that feels right for you. This is your journey. Maybe it will take a little longer than you want to get there. Maybe it'll look a little different from every other person's journey. But here's the truth. When you follow your map, the journey becomes your journey. When you take a turn or make a decision, it's your decision. This is your life. And when you create your own map, it means you're living this life on your terms. You're in charge, not some old belief, not something someone said, 10 years ago, not the negative patterns that keep repeating. Nope. This is your life. This is your decision. This map is your map. It's all up to you. So let's create this map. Let's get busy and do it right here, right now. Let's go step by step through the process of figuring out exactly where you're starting. And then we're going to work together to draw up a plan for how to get that peaceful, joyous life you have always wanted. And all of this starts with something called an anxiety log. Taking an hour by hour look at when and where anxiety pops up in your life allows you to see what's triggering that anxiety. And it can highlight patterns of behaviors and thoughts and emotion. It highlights the particular ins and outs of your anxiety, the who, the what, the where, the when, the how, and the why of what's causing your fears. And that's what we're here about. We're here about getting to know your anxiety. All right, let's take another step in making this your own process. When you begin a daily log, it can be any method you wish. You can create your own log by using the template we've provided you here. You can track online on your phone. You can use just a calendar or a journal. You can do old school with a pen, whatever works for you. I recommend that you make entries as you go through the day. That's most effective because the data is fresh in your mind. But I know that's not always possible. Log in at mealtime, log in before bed as a way to review the day, whatever works for you. But please, please, please do it. Getting to know who and where you are right now in this moment is the first step on the journey to where you want to be tomorrow. Let me sort of demonstrate how this works by taking a look at Gloria, who found keeping a log helped her to deal with the stress and worry of her retirement. Gloria and her husband had been planning for years to retire to a warmer climate. Gloria could not wait. And at 65, the week she turned 65, Gloria was thrilled to finally be able to walk out of that office, leave her job as an office manager, sell the home where they'd raised their sons, and move south to the beautiful new house waiting for them. Gloria believed at last she was going to get to live the life of ease and comfort she'd been longing for, and she was going to sleep in. Instead of feeling joyful, she was blindsided by sudden episodes of anxiety and panic that seemed to come out of nowhere. When she called her friend, her longtime friend, Ellen, Gloria said, I've always been a little anxious, but down here, I don't have my usual routine, my job, my friends, my old house, my old neighborhood. I feel like I don't even know who I am anymore. I am overwhelmed and I am so anxious and I just don't know what to do. And Ellen said, remember back in the office, we used this tracking technique to get a better look at the problems we were dealing with. Well, why don't you try something like that? Gloria said, oh, great idea. And so what she did was she kept track of her feelings and her thoughts in a journal she designed herself. And she wrote in that log every evening after dinner, kept her answers simple and straightforward. Within a few days, she noticed that she was most anxious in the morning as she was getting ready for the day ahead. She also noticed she had almost no anxiety on the days when she made plans ahead of time. She had something to do, something to look forward to, like, a Zoom or a FaceTime call with her grandchildren. She also did better on days when she ate at regular times. As she studied that daily log, Gloria realized she needed to bring some structure to her days. She decided she would plan things to do ahead of time, and she would include things she really wanted to do, things she looked forward to doing. She scheduled her meals at the same time every day. She signed up for a class in archaeology and Tai Chi. She scheduled at least one call with her grandchildren every week. And she began planning with her husband a post-COVID trip to Asia, something she had always wanted to do. And as she made these changes, Gloria not only felt calmer, but she began to view retirement not as a dead end, but an opportunity to explore the things she loved, spend time with family, new friends, and to sleep in late. A few months later, when she was talking to Ellen, Gloria was able to say, "Hey, retirement is everything I'd hoped it would be and more. I've never been happier." Yay, Gloria. Now, how about you? Why not try keeping a log for a few days just to see what comes up for you? And you'll notice we've provided a daily anxiety log here if you choose to use it. However you keep track, it's up to you. I just highly recommend that you get started now. Okay, once you have kept that log for a few days, you can start to use the information you're getting to put a plan together. I have 12 questions you can kind of think about as you review the data that you're getting from this log to help make some sense of what you've learned. Number 1, when am I anxious? How often? Once a day, twice a day, more than that? Is there a time of day that makes me anxious? Morning, sunset, whenever. Be specific. Knowing when you're anxious is really important in putting together a daily plan to help identify those times and then work out ways to make them easier for you. What or who makes me anxious? Number 2. Who or what? Again, be specific. This kind of information gives you great clues about people, circumstances that can trigger you. And when you know your triggers, you can find ways to deal with them ahead of time. 3, what thoughts make me anxious? Is there something you think about that is absolutely guaranteed to make you anxious, wildly anxious? Taxes, politics, your children, your parents. How often are you thinking about that? And let me ask you, how do you feel when you think those thoughts? This is important information in figuring out where and how you can make some healthy choices. 4, is there something that always triggers my anxiety? This is huge. And this can play havoc in your life, this one thing. When you identify it, when you get real and honest about it, you can start to figure out how you're going to deal with it. 5, can I predict my anxiety, or does it just come from nowhere? If you can predict when you're going to be anxious, there are probably things you can do ahead of time to prevent it. But If it comes from nowhere, the work is different. If this panic, if the anxiety comes from nowhere or seems to, the work is to start putting together an emergency kit. You have a first aid kit. This is a first aid kit of anxiety busting tools you can use, that you have it, you're ready, no matter what. The trick to dealing with this anxiety out of nowhere is to be prepared. 6, how long does my anxiety last? Again, this is important information in figuring out how and what is going to work to help you feel better. 7, I love this one. Are there times during the day when I'm not anxious at all? This is so awesome, because when you find those places, those calm places in your life, you can build from them. You can add more of that calm into your day, building from what already works. 8, how much sleep am I getting? When and what am I eating? Oh, this is vital information, because not getting enough sleep, not eating well, makes a huge difference in your anxiety level. When you have this information in one place about how you're living, when you see something that needs a change, it allows you to bring some healthy lifestyle changes to your life, and that will help with your anxiety. 9, where am I in my monthly cycle? Does it make a difference? It may well. So if you find you're cranky, anxious, and pretty much nuts every time, the same time every month, it's probably hormones. And just knowing that can be such a comfort. You are not losing your mind. It comes and it will go. And I think that eases some anxiety, but it also can give you an opportunity to strategize about ways to prevent or ease those symptoms. You can make a plan for ahead of time. 10, were there times in the past I successfully managed my anxiety, and how? This is another great question, because if you found things that work in the past, bring them out, dust them off, try them again. 11, what have I done to cope with my anxiety in the past that did not work? Hey, if what you did in the past didn't work, either give it a pass this time or take some time and figure out why it didn't work, and strategize ways to put it to work more successfully if you choose to try it again. And 12, does keeping track of my anxiety make a difference in how I feel? Has it changed the way I feel about my anxiety? I truly hope so. I hope that keeping track of your anxiety is an incredibly positive step forward for you, because the more you know about this process and your anxiety, the better you're going to be able to deal with it. Go through these questions, look for triggers, patterns, and cycles, and ask yourself, is there something in my environment I need to change, something I need to stop doing, start doing? Is my lifestyle working with me or against me? As financial expert Susie Orman says, quote, it's impossible to map out a route to your destination if you don't know where you're starting from. Logging in, taking the time to keep track is a really great place to start creating this new, exciting life you so deserve. So that's a wrap for today. If you're like I once was and you are suffering in silence, it's time to stop pretending everything's okay. It's time we get past this fear and the shame of not being good enough or okay. It's time we get past that idea that asking for help is a sign of weakness, when in truth, asking for help is a sign of real strength. And it's time we reach out to get the help we need and do it for the people around us who might need the same kind of help. Let's stop this needless suffering and let's do this together.